Hello, everyone, and welcome to our morning devotion. Brother Ben here, bringing to you timely truths. I entitled, What Else Does Jesus Know About Us? In light of Luke chapter 19, verses 1 to 10, we can glean some answers to that question as we take a little peek at the life of Zacchaeus. Some of you may be familiar with this story of this chief tax collector, a unique individual because he was short in stature, hated by many, if not all, because as a Jew, he was working for the Roman government as tax collector, and tax collectors were known to collect more than what was required, making them wealthy. But what does Jesus know about us in light of Zacchaeus? Verses 1 to 2 of chapter 10, it says, Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was a man named Zacchaeus. He was one of the most influential Jews in Roman tax collecting business, and he had become very rich. You see, Jesus knows your need of him. It was not by accident that Jesus was going to pass by Jericho that day. It was purposeful, not a minute wasted, not a day ahead. But the people crowded in and around Jesus that Zacchaeus could not see Jesus. Verses 3 and 4, it says, he tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short to see over crowds. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree beside the road so he could watch from there. Jesus knows how to create a scenario for you. It was rather interesting that a sycamore tree was planted along the road where Jesus was heading. Even that was not a coincidence. God planted that tree there so that the diminutive Zacchaeus could climb it to see Jesus more clearly that day. Verses 5 to 7, it says, when Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. And he's calling you by name as well. He said, Zacchaeus, he said, quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today. Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus into his house in great excitement and joy. But the crowds were displeased. He was gone to be the guest of a notorious sinner, they grumbled. He knows the secrets of your heart. Whether curiosity or divine appointment that forced Zacchaeus to pursue Jesus, Jesus already knew that that there was a need, and Zacchaeus' heart was right for the exact time Jesus showed up. He must have heard so much about Jesus and all the miracles he had performed that his wealth could not satisfy or fill the void or emptiness of his life. Verses 8 and 9. Meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, I will give half of my wealth to the poor, Lord. And if I overcharge people on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. You see, Jesus knows how to fill the void in you. But Jesus filled the void in his life when Jesus invited him to Zacchaeus' house that day. Jesus was so focused on his mission, he did not even entertain what others were complaining about. He has got to be a guest with a man who is a sinner. But Zacchaeus opened his house and life wide open for Jesus to come in and clean up his life. You see, Jesus was not going to let this day pass without total restoration of this man's life. As a grateful response, Zacchaeus said, Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. In verse 9 and 10, Jesus responded, Salvation has come to this home today, for this man has shown himself to be a son of Abraham. And I, the Son of Man, have come to seek and save those like him who are lost. Jesus goes straight to your needs. He knows. He knows that need already. He is just waiting for you to ask him. Your curiosity, let it become a reality. You're experiencing emptiness? You need salvation? Jesus knows already. Ask him to save you. You need healing? He knows you do. Ask him to heal you. Direction? Ask him and put your trust in him. Jesus is as close as the mention of his name. Let me say it again. Jesus is as close as the mention of his name. Say it. Jesus. Mean it in your heart. Jesus. You may be experiencing interruptions in your life. Postponed, canceled medical appointments, health issues, multiple job interviews, out of job, relationships issues, financial difficulty. God already knows. The God that we serve is a big God. Have the courage to allow Jesus. Ask him to take the wheel of your life today. Amen.